All right, from someone who was raised in religion and has deconstructed out of it, let me ask this question. Do you know why people in religion are obsessed with the end of the world? Here's a hint. It's the same reason why people who are heavily identified with a political party get so devastated when their candidate loses. Another hint, it's also why people who get obsessed with certain TV series, like I was with Breaking Bad, get so bummed out when the series ends. In all three cases, it's because this person's world is fake. It's a construct. It's a mind-made false sense of reality, right? We're living in a conceptual world. In the case of religion, it's, heaven, hell, good and evil. In the case of politics, it's right, wrong, liberal, conservative. And in the case of TV shows, it's this world and these people are real, right? Walt and Jesse are my friends. And so when the show ends, I get sad because ostensibly it's the end of that world, because it's the end of the story. So with TV shows, most of us are pretty aware, hopefully, that we're suspending our disbelief when we're watching this show. We know that this isn't really a place in real life and that these aren't real people. But with religion and politics, many don't even know that they've been suspending their disbelief for their entire lives, right? They truly believe that the conceptual world or the story that's been built up around them is reality. It would be like thinking or believing that you're actually in Breaking Bad. And so, when the show ends, holy shit, what do? This is the end of your world. And this is what life is like when your identity, any identity, is rooted in belief. I was working with a guy the other day who was deconstructing some of his religious beliefs. And he said this, it kind of broke my heart. He said, I can't question, or I'm scared to question and drop my belief in hell because if I do, I might go to hell. That's how deep rooted these beliefs and identities are, right? So I said to him, what you just said points directly to an idea that we talk about all the time in KI, which is that we need to believe certain things in order to stay safe and get love. At some point, I said to him, you needed to start believing in hell in order to stay connected with your parents or with people at church or to have safety in numbers or something like that, right? And so to question it might risk, losing that connection or that protection. And that's why you're scared. And he said, yeah, God, that is why I'm scared. He said, that would be like the end of the world. But to his credit, he kept inquiring and he found a lot of freedom after that because what felt like the end of the world to him turned out to be the end of having to suffer in order to stay safe and get love. And this is why people in religion and sometimes politics have such a hyper focus on the end of the world or the end of things, right? Because they're trying to maintain an illusion. Now, here's the really crazy sounding part. The reason that people, and we, because religious and political folks aren't the only ones who are defending their suffering and arguing for their limitations, have to maintain our illusions is so that we don't have to feel and express what's been true for us since childhood, so that we don't have to be ourselves. The hell guy I was talking about earlier, what he didn't realize or remember is that when he took on that belief about hell, he felt angry and he felt hurt that he had to start believing that in order, to be approved of or to be loved or to get protected. But that anger and that hurt, it got pushed down into his body, right? And out of consciousness. And though he didn't see it until we did inquiry that day, it kept his belief in hell feeling true for the next 30 years. It kept him suffering. If somehow as a kid, he had been able to say, I'm angry and I'm hurt, that I have to believe this, right? Or that I have to believe anything, really. Hell likely wouldn't have even been an issue for him. And I say this because after we did this inquiry and he was able to feel and express the buried anger and hurt, hell wasn't an issue for him anymore. Authenticity trumps belief and illusion every time. It actually dissolves it, and sometimes in one sitting doing inquiry. So if you're a Christian or a Buddhist or an atheist or an agnostic or a conservative or a liberal or any character from Breaking Bad, just know that underneath the identification with those stories lie the buried repressed emotions that could get you free of them. And that to get free, you're going to have to end your own world. You can learn how to do that at repressiontest.com.